Do you remember that moment when you read a book, saw a post, or watched a video and you felt totally inspired? Do you remember how in that one moment you felt this ecstatic desire to know more about what you just learned? And it was like you were drunk on inspiration? In case you don't know, my name is Dov Baron and I'm the founder of FullMontyLeadership.com, and I invite you to chomp down on another episode of Curiosity Bites. Do you ever wonder how it is actually possible that any of us can go from that level of intrigue and inspiration to actually forgetting that we ever even encountered this potentially mind-blowing and maybe even life-altering moment? The clue might be in the word inspiration itself, which means to be drunk on the divine. You see, we live in a world that told us that learning is by route. That you'll do well if you score high on the test, and you'll score high on the test if you can parrot back what it is they teach you. And part of the challenge is that we collectively move towards this convergent thinking. We look for a single right answer so that we can get that pat on the back, when in truth there might be multiple right answers if we are simply willing to shift context. You know, when I studied Kabbalah, my rabbi and I, we would actually be in a small study group and we would sit together, and the rabbi would read out this passage from the Torah, and they would ask each of us in the group, there was usually 5 or 6 of us, to speak about what the piece meant, and we weren't allowed to repeat anything that anyone else had said. Now this was done to teach us how to see things through a different context, and the purpose of that was to have us really understand what true compassion is. When we see things differently, we can behave differently. This is to recontextualize your reality into something that is far more intriguing and inspiring than life by route. When we can recontextualize an event, then we can embrace the meaning, a deeper meaning, and more inspiration. We can be drunk on the divine. But know this, knowledge is ubiquitous. Knowledge is everywhere. While wisdom, well, you know, that seems to be pretty rare. So how can we gain wisdom? Well, there are 2 very specific ways. Number 1, experience. You know what that is, right? You have experience, you do things and you fail and you learn, and that gives you wisdom. And the second way is through curiosity. By being deeply curious about something, by wanting to know more about something, and then we can translate that into experience and we can get a greater level of wisdom. You see, we cannot truly lead others unless we authentically are willing to lead ourselves. And we can only authentically lead ourselves if we have applied wisdom that comes from curiosity and experience. See, what I want you to really grasp is this. What we take for granted, we lose. You might remember the very first time you looked through a microscope and saw a world of life that you could have never even imagined. And now maybe you barely even think about the entire universe that lives under a rock. Remember falling in love and wanting to know absolutely everything about your partner? Remember the delicious experience of discovering something new, something you hadn't previously known about that person? Remember looking at the night sky, and maybe you did it with a telescope, and being in absolute awe that those were not just little lights in the sky, but they were distant stars and planets. Remember this. What we take for granted, we lose. But it doesn't have to be permanent. Curiosity lets us have back what we may have lost. So when you find yourself reminded of that thing that was mind-blowing for you at the time that you received it, return to it. Return to the things that once had meaning and go deeper into them. Awaken the inspiration that you once knew through the power of curiosity. because there is a childlike ecstasy that comes from both curiosity and discovery. So I invite you to chomp down on your curiosity and discover a new level of mental and emotional sustenance, because curiosity, it's the cure for an unfulfilled life. So stay curious, my friend. Stay curious about the child of wonder who sleeps within you.